We are revisiting connections between East Tennessee and a small community along the Gulf Coast devastated by Hurricane Katrina 20 years ago. That storm still ranks as one of the most catastrophic to ever hit the U.S. Hundreds of people died, and the repair and recovery costs soared into the billions. 2 decades ago, WBIR viewers across East Tennessee adopted the small town of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, all but wiped out by that historic hurricane. And for the last 2 decades, 10 News has followed the recovery. All last week, anchors Robin Wilhoit and John Becker surveyed the recovery 20 years in now. And tonight, here's John Becker with the economic comeback.
The finishing touches are underway at the newest restaurant set to open in the Gulf Coast getaway of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
We can move on, we can move forward, we can rebuild.
Anthony's Restaurante is Jolynn Trapani's second restaurant in this town, and it serves as a symbol of what's possible after a hurricane named Katrina ripped apart the entire community of 10,000 20 years ago.
Pure devastation. Yeah.
Is it hard to think back 20 years?
It is. You know, I always say that, you know, you're at ground zero when the President of the United States stands 10 feet from your old building and calls it ground zero. And he not only did that, but President Bush was there for 2 years in a row. And, you know, that was ground zero.
It truly is amazing. And we'd have never thought we'd be where we're at today. You know, the people believe in it. We've been very fortunate to have people come in and make investments in our city and all.
The mayor of this beach and bar town credits volunteers from afar and government money for helping keep Bay St. Louis afloat and set up for future success. Look no further than this new harbor with more than 200 boat slips.
We stay at a 93+ occupancy rate in there, which is truly amazing.
That's been a difference maker.
It has been a huge difference maker.
The owner of PJ's Coffee says 5 years in, her shop is seeing new traction from tourists and locals, another sign of progress here 2 decades post-Katrina.
Where does Bay St. Louis go from here?
Ooh, who knows? The stars are the limit. I mean, it's only getting better and better. The community's growing stronger, new generations coming in.
When you drive around Bay St. Louis 20 years after Hurricane Katrina, one thing that stands out are all the big trees. And that's one other thing that's given this community hope. Also a tourist draw. Those giant oaks dating back to the 1800s are a rare sight this close to the coast. A throwback in time in a town where almost every other man-made home or business has stood for fewer than 20 years.
They fed them, they took great care of them within a month after the storm, and that kept these trees still with us, and they will be with us.
A fixture here in downtown Bay St. Louis was this restaurant. For years, Trapani's stood until Hurricane Katrina blew it off the map. But in 2006, it was the first restaurant back, serving as a catalyst for change here in downtown.
We're not only signature for downtown, but at this point, we're one of the oldest seafood restaurants on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Yes, Trapani's was Jolynn's first restaurant in Bay St. Louis. Inside her second, the new tiramisu martini, fresh-made pastries and upscale cuisine hold new promise 2 decades into the recovery from a historic hurricane.
When you look back from 20 years ago to where you are now, it's amazing. I knew that we could do this, but when you see it, I never knew that it could unfold to become this.
And I'm joined now by John Becker. And John, you talked to one of the survivors who saw her story preserved, and it's now on display for anyone to see.
You heard her in that piece talking about the trees. This is Nikki Moon, and I want you to look at this photo. This is Nikki and her dog. They, after Katrina hit, spent 3.5 hours hugging each other inside a limb of one of those massive oaks, 25 feet up, hoping a wave would not wash them out to sea. essentially surviving with these 3 others in that tree. And it is here, it's called the Angel Tree. We're sitting here doing an interview in front of it. It is preserved for anyone who drives into Bay St. Louis to see this history and understand the impact Katrina had on that small town.
Incredible story that anyone can see now. All right, thank you so much, John. And you can watch all of the coverage from John and Robin right now on our streaming app, WBIR+. It's called Bay St. Louis 20 Years Later. All you need to do is download WBIR+ on your smart TV and watch for free.